One thing, Joe, I brought up as a point yesterday, I feel like the GM maybe said something to this effect about their defense, and as they start to build this thing out, they're going to get a lot of new pieces, but they don't start at a baseline zero. They have some talented pieces they can use, and I'm thinking primarily about the return of Ed Oliver and Michael Hoyt. Like, to me, we're all in our heads, we have this vision of the Bills' front seven that needs to be overhauled from the playoffs and from the end of the season, and that's true. But that overhaul starts with the injection of two really nice pieces so far. And, in terms of Oliver, he's one of the faces of the defense. How do you like the idea of the Jim Leonhard defense for him and just how big of an acquisition it is to have him in it? Like, if he weren't on the team and he just jumped onto the team, which is kind of one way to think about it from being injured for basically a full year, how much of a boost will Ed Oliver be and in this system itself?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, and I can point to some very specific examples of body types that are very similar to Ed Oliver that is really good in this type of system. And I go right to Denver, and I point to Zach Allen and the type of production he's been able to have. And Zach Allen, they don't ask him to go in there and two-gap, and play and defend the run. They ask him to penetrate, right? They put him next to a nose tackle like DJ Jones. They put him next to a good five-tech and John Franklin Myers, or a good rush outside linebackers like a John Cooper, and they let him go. I think about the Rams with Kobe Turner, another player very similar, like around 6'2", around 290 pounds, not a lot of length, sub 33-inch arms. And he's another player that's able to be free and just, do what he does. And I think you'll see Ed Oliver have that opportunity under Jim Leonhard. So I don't find myself concerned about it. I know that you might look at his skill set and think, all right, 3 technique and an even front defense. Well, he can play 4-eye and an odd front as well. And I think there's plenty of success to point to there. And so I'm very curious to see how his game evolves. And then, Michael Hoyt, I think, is extremely clean as a projection to this defense as well. And it was cool to listen to him on Eric Wood's podcast talk about his excitement for it and how he actually thinks that it simplifies a lot for the entire defense, and guys can play a little faster. And I think those are going to be 2 foundational pieces. I think Greg Rousseau will be a very clean projection. And, I mean, you mentioned that they do have some foundational pieces. I mean, this corner tandem of Benford and Harrison is exciting. Bishop is exciting. So they got some blanks to fill in around those guys, and I'm not trying to make light of that. But I think we have to be careful to not be too concerned about everything that they need. And at the same time, let's acknowledge what's in place that I think is a strong nucleus. And I think in some ways those players can elevate in this new defense under Jim Leonhard as things are simplified.